NASA Moon mission targets lunar dust, exosphere, CTech, CBS News. CBSNews.com, CBS Evening News, CBS This Morning, 48 hours, 60 minutes, Sunday morning, Face the Nation. Video. U.S. World. Politics. Entertainment. Health. Money Watch. CTech. Crime. Sports. More. Blogs The Feed Battleground The WH. Webshow 60 Overtime Face-to-Face. Resources Mobile Radio Local. Login. Join CBSNews.com Sign in with. Profile. Manage my newsletter subscriptions. Update my email address. Change my password. Log out. CTech by William Harwood, CBS News /September 6, 2013, 10:51 a.m. NASA Moon mission targets lunar dust, exosphere. An innovative, relatively low-cost spacecraft perched atop a 5-stage booster making its maiden flight is poised for a launch from the Virginia coast late Friday in a mission to study the Moon's ultra-thin atmosphere and the pervasive dust that blankets its cratered surface. With forecasters predicting a 95% chance of good weather, the $280 million Lunar Atmosphere and Dust Environment Explorer (LADEE) mission is scheduled to get underway at 11:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time (GMT) for Friday, with the skylighting liftoff from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport at NASA's Wallops Island Flight Facility. Once in orbit around the Moon, NASA's LADEE spacecraft, seen here in an artist's impression, will study the ultra-thin lunar atmosphere and how dust moves about. NASA. Powered by 3-piece ICBM solid fuel rocket motors and two commercially developed solid propellant upper stages, the Orbital Sciences Corporation. Minotaur 5 rocket was expected to be visible from as far north as Maine, as far west as Wheeling, West Virginia, and as far south as eastern North Carolina, weather permitting. If all goes well, the Minotaur 5 will boost the 844-pound LADEE spacecraft into an extremely elliptical orbit. After completing 3 trips around the Earth over the next month or so, the high point of the orbit will be far enough out to allow the Moon's gravity to capture the spacecraft after a critical rocket firing. Once in orbit around the Moon, flight controllers will spend about a month checking out the spacecraft's systems, calibrating its instruments and testing an experimental laser communications system. The laser hardware is half the weight of a comparable radio system, uses a quarter of the power, and can beam back data at more than 600 megabits per second. With testing complete, the spacecraft then will drop down to an extremely low altitude, between 12 and 37 miles above the Moon's surface, to begin a 3-month mission to study the lunar atmosphere and the Moon's dusty environment. I think sometimes people are a little taken aback when we start talking about the lunar atmosphere, because we were told in school that the Moon doesn't have an atmosphere, said Sarah Noble, the LADEE program scientist at NASA headquarters. It does, it's just really, really thin. It's so thin, the individual molecules that make up the atmosphere are so few and far between that they don't interact with each other, they never collide. An Air Force/Orbital Sciences Corporation. Minotaur 5 rocket will boost NASA's LADEE spacecraft onto a trajectory to the Moon with a launch late Friday from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport in Virginia's coast. Orbital Sciences Corporation. Such collisionless atmospheres are known as exospheres, and they are common throughout the solar system, from Mercury to other moons and possibly larger members of the asteroid belt. It's a class of atmosphere we don't know that much about, Noble said. It turns out the Moon is actually a really convenient place to go and learn about this really common type of atmosphere. It's also a really good time for us to go explore the lunar exosphere. Because it's so delicate and thin, it's easily disturbed by things like spacecraft landings. Things have been relatively quiet around the Moon in terms of landings the last few decades, but that's not going to stay that way for long, she said. So now's a really good time to go and take a look at it, while it's still in its pristine, natural state. LADEE's instruments also